the ignorance problem, you solve the material desire problem, you solve the sinful activity problem, and you solve the sinful reactions problem. So samvada mahadakyanam shutva mucheta kilbishat. Simply by hearing this samvada, that means the discussion between Satyavrat Muni and the fish incarnation of the Supreme Lord Matsya Avatar. Mahadakyanam, this is a very great story. Shutva, if you shall hear that, mucheta kilbishat, you'll be freed from sinful reactions, because by the power of hearing, you'll be freed from the very root of these reactions, which is essentially known as Maya. Shrinvata swakata Krishna punya shravana kirtana. Dhyantosto hiya bhadrani vidunoti suhrit satam. This verse is telling that hearing about Krishna is itself pious activity, but there's not ordinary piety, there's spiritual piety. Anyway, there is a distinction between the two. And by this spiritual piety, the abhadrani, the inauspicious thing in the heart. So that main abhadrani is called Maya. That is the main inauspicious thing. Maya, whose power is obscuring our self-awareness and obscuring our God awareness. And this is at the root of the dilemma of the conditioned soul. So this is the main abhadra. Other abhadras are symptomatic. So sometimes we get a little bit caught up in that. Oh, I have the lust. Oh, I have the greed. Oh, I have the envy. Okay, why you have the lust, greed, and envy? Well, because I identify with the body. Well, why you do that? Because I'm in ignorance. Why are you in ignorance? Because we're in Maya. So we can remove this Maya simply by hearing about Krishna and hearing about his avatars and hearing the teachings that those avatars give to the great devotees and so on. That is the main abhadrani vidunoti suhrit satam. So it can be cleared away for the truthful devotee who takes shelter of such narrations. Okay. So this verse, we've just heard the story of Satyavrat Muni and Matsya Avatar. We also heard the story of another Matsya Avatar who rescued the Vedas from the demon named Hayagriva earlier in the chapter and returned them to Lord Brahma. So both stories, very nice. If we shall take shelter of these narrations, then we can cure our root disease, essentially known as Maya. Okay, so these verses are giving what is known as a palasruti. Palasruti means a fruit from hearing. Because someone, why I should hear this? What's the benefit of hearing? We hear so many things without asking this question, actually. when we hear materialistic things, this question never occurs to us. Why am I hearing this thing? What is the benefit? But Bhagavatam is informing that if you hear these things, then this is the benefit. Okay, so next verse also is giving another benediction of hearing, another fruit of hearing. Avataram Hare Yomam Kirtayat Anvayam Nara Sankalpastasya Siddhyanti Sayati Paramangatim. One who narrates this description of the Matsya incarnation and King Satyavrata will certainly have all his ambitions fulfilled, and he will undoubtedly return home back to Godhead. So if you do the kirtan of this narration, kirtayat anvayamnara, daily. This may not be your favorite story, but if it happens to be attractive to you, and you shall perform kirtan of the avatar Hari in his form as the Matsya avatar, then sankalpas tasya siddhyanti. Whatever is your sankalpa. So sankalpa means like, Prabhupada's translated here as your all ambitions. Whatever is intention that you have. Because in order to accomplish anything, you have to have the sankalpa inside. Otherwise, it's not possible. For example, a very simple example. If you want to get up in the morning, you have to make the sankalpa in the evening of the previous day. Otherwise, it doesn't happen automatically. This is just a personal realization. I as a sadhaka of some kind, I do have a desire to get up in the morning. generally speaking, to perform sadhana. But unless I make the sankalpa in the evening, then I get up a little bit later than I want. I usually like to get up by 5 o'clock. But unless I make the sankalpa in the evening, the night before, to get up at 5, then I'll get up at 5:30, 5:45, and then it'll drag on and on and on and on, depending on the level of consciousness that day. So that means that you can accomplish things when you make the sankalpa inside. Otherwise, not. Also, because when trying to accomplish anything, there are many obstacles that come up, even the smallest thing. Especially in Kali Yuga, if you notice that even to do the simplest thing in Kali Yuga takes a really long time. Just a general observation and frustration of mine. The simplest thing takes like a really long time in Kali Yuga for some reason. So the many obstacles come, and if you have to survive the obstacles inside, you have to make the sankalpa. Otherwise, if you don't have sankalpa inside, you don't have that determination, that strong intention, objective to complete, then it doesn't happen. But there are many obstacles to that. So even if you have the sankalpa, many obstacles come. So here is being said, if you shall do kirtan of the narrations of Hari, then whatever your sankalpa is inside, tasya siddhyanti, you will become successful. So that is giving, all of these things give impetus to perform the Shravan Kirtan of these narrations. These are not ordinary stories. So the Bhagavatam is trying to inspire the conditioned souls to embrace them, to take refuge in them. And why I should take refuge? Well, you have sinful reactions coming your way. You want to stop that? Yeah, okay. You should take shelter in these narrations. You have some sankalpa inside. You want to accomplish something? Yes, okay. Then you do kirtan of this story and trying to give encouragement to us. Above achieving our sankalpas, sayati paramangatam. As sadhakas, we may have interest to go back home, back to Godhead. Paramangati, the supreme destination. So he, the person who does kirtan of these narrations, yeti paramangati, he can go back, he can achieve the paramangati, the supreme destination. And this way, these verses are giving palasruti, a fruit of hearing, to give us encouragement to do the Shravan Kirtan of the narration of Matsya Avatar with his devotee, Satyavrat Muni. And of course, you can extrapolate and take any story of the Srimad Bhagavatam. As Krishna himself also says in Bhagavad Gita, right? Janma karma chame divyam evam yoveti tatutaha. Taktwaham punarjanma. Oh, what is it? Last night, just mixing up verses of the Gita. For anyone who shall hear the Janma karma of Krishna, his birth and activities, they shall perform Shravan Kirtan of these stories, basically. Janma karma means the stories of Krishna, which are all transcendental, and you shall understand them in truth, Veti Tatutaha, not just as mythology, and not just the ordinary myth, which is giving some sort of psychological purport to the human condition, which is the general tendency of the modern man to look at these stories. But you understand the deeper reality behind them, Veti Tatutaha. Then at the time of death, you can be liberated. Sayati Paramam Gatam, same idea. So this is giving encouragement to take shelter of Avatar Kata. That was one of the topics mentioned in the very beginning of the Bhagavatam. In the sages, they ask 6 questions. And they actually, just as a sidebar, all 6 questions are about Krishna. Very interesting thing mentioned by Jiva Goswami. And one of the questions is they want to know about the avatars of Krishna. This is called as Avatar Kata. And so now we're hearing that if you do this Avatar Kata, topics of the avatars, you hear, you chant, then so many nice fruits will come. So who is that person that will not take shelter of these narrations? That is kind of the implicit statement. Who is that? These such nice fruits are coming. You don't like these nice fruits? All your sankalpa will be accomplished. You can get the supreme destination. All your reactions will go. You don't like? You don't like? Of course I like. Then you take shelter of these narrations. All right, last verse here in the sequence. Pralayapaya sidatu supta shaktir mukebya Shrudiganamapanitam pratyupadhatahatva Ditichamakatayadyo brahma satya vratanam Tamahamakila hetum jimamenam natosmi. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who pretended to be a gigantic fish. Pretended. Who restored the Vedic literature to Lord Brahma when Lord Brahma awakened from deep sleep, and who explained the essence of Vedic literature to King Satyavrata and the great saintly persons. So yeah, Natosmi, so all obeisances are being offered to Jima Mihnam, the Supreme Lord in his form as a fish. Prabhupada's translated here as pretending to be a fish. I saw I saw a couple other commentaries for this verse. The idea here is that even though he's looking like a fish, he is not a fish. That is the idea. So that's why he said pretending to be a fish. Because he's not a fish, he's the avatar of the Lord. He's a divine descent. So there's no question of him being a fish. Generally, a fish, out of all the different species of life, the fish is somehow particularly ridiculed, which I don't know why. I guess they're considered particularly unintelligent. In any case, I don't know why they have some, some, their character is not very much appreciated for some reason. So one should not think that the Lord is an ordinary fish made up of the three gunas of nature, some low creature, but rather he is a form of the Supreme Lord, composed of the internal energy, Vishuddha Sattva. So that is the idea here. So my obeisances to the avatar of the Lord, Matsya avatar. He's pretending to be a fish, but actually he is Vishnu. That is the idea here. And he is Akila Hetu. Akila Hetu means he's the cause of everything. So God, in other words. Okay. So, and then the rest of the verses, the telling of the two pastimes that we heard in this chapter. Pralaya payasi dhatu supta shaktir mukebhya shrudiganam apanitam pratyudhata pratyupadhata hatva ditijam akatayad. So this, all of that is referring to the first pastime we heard. So the demon, Ditijam, means the demon. Ditijam means one born of Diti, but this demon was not born of Diti, but is taken in a more conventional sense. Ditijam means born of a demon. It means a demon, basically, demon birth. So the demon had stolen the Vedas while Lord Brahma was sleeping, right? Pralaya payasi dhatu supta shaktir mukebhya. He was inert due to sleeping, and as he was sleeping, Vedas was coming out of his mouth, and then Hayagriva grabbed him. And so the Lord had to kill Hayagriva and return the Vedas to Lord Brahma. That is the first pastime we heard in this chapter. And then the second pastime was the Lord and his exchange with Satyavrata Muni. So Yo Brahma Satyavratanam. That is referring to that story. Yaha means one who, so Matsya avatar, one who Brahma Satyavratanam, who gave the Brahma. The Brahma means the Vedic knowledge, the spiritual knowledge, to Satyavrata Muni and also the sages, right? Because when they were on the boat, there were so many sages. Saptarishis were there, some other sages, and they all received instructions from the Supreme Lord in his form as Matsya Avatar. So my obeisances to that Lord, one who is given instructions to Satyavrat Muni and the sages. So Prabhupada's purport on this, let us read this. Yes. Here's a summary, purport by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Here's a summary of Satyavrat's meeting with the fish incarnation of Lord Vishnu. Lord Vishnu's purpose was to take back all the Vedic literatures from the demon Hayagriva and restore them to Lord Brahma. Incidentally, by his causeless mercy, the Lord spoke with Satyavrata. The word Satyavratanam is significant because it indicates that those on the level of Satyavrata can take knowledge from the Vedas delivered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Whatever is spoken by the Supreme Lord is accepted as Veda. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Vedanta Krit Vedavit, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the compiler of all Vedic knowledge, and he knows the purport of the Vedas. Therefore, anyone who takes knowledge from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, or from Bhagavad Gita as it is, knows the purpose of the Vedas. Vedayasya sarvair aham eva vedyaha. One cannot understand Vedic knowledge from the Veda Vada Retas, who read the Vedas and misconstrue their subject matter. One has to know the Vedas from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's in the Bhaktivedanta Purports of the 8th Canto, 24th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Matsya, the Lord's Fish Incarnation. And there's a little bit more, because this is the end of the 8th Canto, so Srila Prabhupada has written a little bit more here. We'll get to that in just a minute. So Prabhupada's purport is basically just an elaboration of this one line here, Yo Brahma Satya Vratanam. So Prabhupada has decided to zoom in only on this statement that the Supreme Lord Matsya Avatar has given the Brahma, the Vedic knowledge, to Satyavrata Muni and the other sages. So I found this line specifically most interesting, that the word Satyavratanam is significant because it indicates that those on the level of Satyavrata can take knowledge from the Vedas delivered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I was trying to understand what Prabhupada meant by this, and I don't know. I mean, without asking him, you can't really know. But we can speculate according to our philosophy. Looking at earlier, this previous sentence, incidentally, by his causeless mercy, the Lord spoke with Satyavrata Muni. So by the Lord's causeless mercy, the Lord spoke with Satyavrata. So this is actually, it appears to me to be a reference of an earlier statement in the chapter from the Supreme Lord himself. So I pulled it up here. Madhya mahimanam cha param brahmeti shabditam vesyasya nugrihitam me samprashna vivritam hridi. This is Matsya Avatar speaking. He tells Satyavrata Muni and the sages, you will be thoroughly advised and favored by me, and because of your inquiries, everything about my glories, which are known as Param Brahma, will be manifest within your heart. Thus you will know everything about me. So Madhya Mahimanam Cha. So the Mahimana means the glories of God. Madhyam, the glories pertaining to me, the Supreme Lord. These glories are known as Param Brahma. Param Brahma means the supreme reality. That is the meaning of the word Param Brahma. Param Brahma iti. They are thus known as the supreme reality. Shabditam, they are celebrated as Param Brahma. So Vaitsasi, you will understand this because of a combination of two things, which is very interesting here. You will understand these glories, which are Param Brahma, by a combination of Anugrihitam me, my mercy, because Krishna is beyond matter, right? So if anything is existing beyond matter, how can you understand it except for by the process of revelation, right? That is a simple point. That is why modern science will always be baffled by consciousness. They're like, now modern science is baffled by consciousness because consciousness is itself also beyond Prakriti. That's why Krishna refers to consciousness itself of the jiva, what to speak of God. He refers to consciousness of the jiva as achintya in Bhagavad Gita, I think 225. He says this jiva is also achintya, inconceivable or not able to be conceived by the prakritic faculties, right? Because it is beyond Prakriti, it is transcendent to Prakriti. So they'll always be making up some speculation. They'll say it is some emergent thing. They give all sorts of terms, and the terms sound really impressive. So people go, oh, yeah. It's like looking at fireworks. So everyone uses the language like the fireworks, and everyone, yeah, and become bewildered. But actually, no one is saying anything because it's baffling. It's very baffling how something insentient as matter just produces consciousness, because it doesn't produce it, in fact. So it is itself achintya. So what to speak of the foundation of consciousness, Paramatma or Bhagavan, that is all inconceivable territory. So we have to understand that there's only one positive method by which it can be understood, and that is called as revelation. It has to be revealed, or as we like to say, through the process of hearing. So anugrihitame, you'll understand these glories by my mercy, but it's combined with something. Samprashnaya. Samprashnaya means your inquiry. There should be inquiry also. Then these will come manifest in the heart. So there's a combination of mercy and a combination of inquiry, right? As the saying goes, I guess this is the Bible, but seek and you shall find, knock and the doors will be open. If you're not seeking, why you should find it. If you're not knocking, why the door should be open. It's not a sci-fi movie where the door just swings open. Hold on. Come. This is not a sci-fi movie where the door swings open. This is where the answer is no. If you're not knocking, door not going to open. If you're not seeking, you will not find it. I have a little maxim that I like to say often that evolution of inquiry precedes evolution of being. I really like this saying a lot. I accidentally said it when I was in Goa in 2014 at a yoga intensive. I was at a yoga intensive because I had some health issue. So I was trying to get back to strength after a year of being not well. So I went to this yoga intensive for 1 month in Goa. Big mistake, by the way. I was around really nice yogis, but they weren't devotees. And that was the first time I really realized that not being around devotees is terrible. I was staying in Braja and I went away from Braj for a month for this thing. And when I came back to Vrindavan, I was almost in tears. I was just like, all the devotees I would normally like criticize or make fun of, I was just like happy to see them. Anyway, so that's a sidebar. But I went for this reason, to gain back the health. And while I was talking with some of the yogis there, we were having some get together in the evening. And while I was talking to some of them, I accidentally said this thing. And I was like, wow, that makes a lot of sense. So I wrote it down. I always kept it with me. Evolution of inquiry precedes evolution of being. It means that the sort of questions we are asking will determine the sort of revelation of knowledge we get. And with that knowledge, we can use it to transform ourselves, to elevate ourselves, to purify ourselves, etc. And I come to really stick with this maxim because of another verse from the Bhagavatam, which is basically an elaboration of the same idea. So this is the other verse from Bhagavatam, from Chatur Shloki. Bhagavatam is summarized in 4 verses. They're known as Chatur Shloki. These 4 verses have 4 topics. Topic 1 is called Jnana. Topic 2 is called Vijnana. Topic 3 is called Rahasya. And topic 4 is called Tat Anga. Anyway, in short, the first topic, Jnana, is about Bhagavan. The second topic, Vijnana, is about Maya, which is obscuring the realization of Bhagavan and also our own self. Topic 4, the Rahasya, is about Prema. And that's topic 3, topic 3. And topic 4, called as Tat Anga, it means it is a anga of that Rahasya, that secret, an anga of Prema, refers to sadhana bhakti, the path that leads to that Prema. So each of these 4 topics have 4 verses, and this particular verse that you see on the screen now is the 4th verse describing Tat Anga, describing the process of sadhana. So we are supposed to be sadhakas, practitioners, right? So this verse is describing what does it mean to be a sadhaka. So etavad eva jignasam tattva jignasuna atmanaha. So this first line, this is where my evolution of inquiry precedes evolution of being axiom is mentioned, actually. So the word Tattva Jignasuna means someone who is inquisitive about the truth. Tattva Jignasuna, you can see Prabhupada translated Jignasuna as the student. Tattva. So the student, he is inquisitive. He wants to know about the Tattva. The Tattva means the reality. So what Tattva? That Tattva is Atmana. Atmana means he wants to know the reality of the self. Of course, the word Atmanaha, according to our charts here, the self, means Krishna, it means Bhagavan. That's why Prabhupada has capitalized the S in self in his word to word here. So one who is inquisitive about the reality of the self, etavad eva jignasam, he must certainly inquire about it up to this point. Etavad, up to this he must inquire. Up to this here means up to the experience of the rahasya of the previous verse. So we mentioned in short, the rahasya means prema. So the one who is a student of the self, he wants to know the tattva. He must investigate. He must certainly, Eva, he must certainly investigate it up to this point, up to the experience of prema. The say it in the converse, the idea is that until one is experiencing prema, then one's investigation is not complete. So that is the nature of inquiry, that you can stagnate. Just like sometimes it happens before we were devotees, we may have suffered or whatever it is. And we had so many questions, and that led us to Krishna conscious movement. And we got so many answers that we decided that, yes, this will be my path. So we embraced the path. Then afterwards, we just stopped asking questions, no more questions. Now I got this, my path is clear, everything is clear. And we, stagnant is not the word I'm looking for, though. I'm looking for a different word. Yeah, almost like a spiritual listlessness, right? Or ennui, maybe that's a good word, like a spiritual ennui. And we just, go through the routine. We have our sadhana, we take prasad, we hang out with the devotees occasionally, we do kirtan, whatever. And so we kind of enter into this sort of spiritual ennui where we don't go deeper. And that can be very dangerous, because at a certain point you may come to wonder, like, why am I doing this? Why I came is one reason, but why you stay will be another reason. Because why you came may have been some suffering, this thing, that thing. So that got solved in the beginning when you embraced the spiritual path. So now why you shall continue, that will have to be another reason. But if you enter to the spiritual ennui, you may not be looking for that. You stop your investigation, you stagnate. So of course, luckily we have Krishna around. He helps out. It's all right. The guy's slacking a little bit. Let me take this little attachment off his hand. Let me take that other attachment. Now he's suffering. Now his inquiry will go deeper, and you can enter into new realms of subjectivity, a more spacious Krishna consciousness instead of the more confined understanding. But that requires knocking on the door, so to speak. Knock and the door shall be open. What is the knocking? It's the deeper inquiry. So we can stop our inquiry point at any point in our way of progress. Some people, like the karmis, they're satisfied with the phenomenal world and they don't inquire beyond that. Some people are not satisfied with that. They ask deeper questions. They come to understand consciousness and Brahman, and then they are satisfied with that. They stop inquiry. And then others, they are into the void or the Buddhism, and after that, they stop inquiry. Like this, so you can stop on so many places, and all these realities are contained within Bhagavan. So there are possibilities. But the Srimad Bhagavatam is encouraging us to certainly inquire up to this point, the actual mystery, which is the mystery of prema. And until we're actually experiencing that, we have a lot of questions to ask. So the combination of our ardent inquiry and the mercy of the Lord, coming back to this verse that Maj just spoke to, Satyavrat Muni, Anugrihita me samprashnaya, Vesisi Anugrihita me samprashnaya. By the combination of Krishna's mercy and samprashnaya, our inquiry, then Vesisi, we will come to understand Madhya Mahimanam Shah, the glories of the Supreme Lord, known as Param Brahma. So that combination should be there. The type of mercy you get is the type of mercy you're looking for in a lot of ways. Another nice verse, and I'll end with this. This is a verse I often quote from Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, chapter 9, verse number 11, where anyway, the last line says, Ya yadiyata urukaya vibhavayanti tat tat vapu pranayase saranugrahaya. I probably always quote this verse at one point in the classes. It's such a nice verse from Lord Brahma. But basically the verse is saying you get realization according to meditation. Yayadhiya. So yayadhiya means according to your meditation. The form of the Lord that you meditate on with thinking inside. Then tat tat vapu pranayase. That form pranayase, the Supreme Lord will manifest saranugrahaya, to show his mercy to you. So it's not that if you're meditating on Krishna, that Matcha avatar will show up. If you're meditating on Krishna, Krishna will come. The sort of realization of the absolute you get is basically congruent with the thing that you're looking for. Seek and you shall find, knock and the door shall be open. It is a combination of our own self-searching. And when I say self, I mean self with a capital S and a lower S also, because the lower S is included within the capital S. The combination of our own self-searching and the mercy from above, that combination allows for realization. So that was all I can make out from Prabhupada's purport, where he says, incidentally, by his causeless mercy, the Lord spoke with Satyavrata. The word Satyavrtanam is significant because it indicates that those on the level of Satyavrata can take knowledge from the Vedas delivered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So what does it mean to be on the level of Satyavrata? So I'm taking this idea from Matsu's avatar's own words to him, that you were inquisitive. So I responded to that and gave you my mercy. So now you can know my glories. And so Prabhupada just expands that by saying that, one last thing I have to share, that we should receive knowledge from Krishna, from his mercy in the form of Bhagavad Gita as it is, or the Shastras. Then we can understand the absolute truth, of course, in accordance with our inquiry. And we should not receive knowledge from others who claim to know the Vedas, but are Veda Vadarata. They're only materialistic persons. They have stopped their inquiry at the point of phenomenal existence. So we should not listen from those people. Or if you want to, if you're interested in phenomenality, you can hear from them also. But if you're interested for deeper reality, you should not hear from those who have stopped their inquiry process at the stage of phenomenality. You have to hear from those who have gone deeper. Ideally from those who are standing in the mystery that is prema. Then you hear from them. Then you will have some access to that mystery. Last thing I have to read here from Prabhupada's words, I forgot. So he had finished the 8th canto, so he writes this thing here. This commentation has been finished in our New Delhi Center today, the 1st of September, 1976, the day of Radhashtami, by the grace of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the Acharyas. Srila Narottam Das Thakur says, Tandara Charana Sevi, Bhakta Sanevas, Janame Janame Hai E Abhilasha. I am attempting to present Srimad Bhagavatam in the English language by the order of my spiritual master, Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And by his grace, the work of translation is gradually progressing. And the European and American devotees who have joined the Krishna consciousness movement are helping me considerably. Thus, we have expectations of finishing the great task before my passing away. All glories to Sri, Guru, and Gauranga. End of the 8th canto, end of this class. Thank you very much for tolerating me. Hari Om Tat Sat. I'm left 8 minutes. If anyone wants to ask anything, we can ask. Okay, we have a question here from Agape. Hari Krishna. So what exactly is the fine print of all the promises given at the end of the different pastimes, such as hearing, chanting, remembering, etc.? A certain pastime will give a benediction of some sort. Some of these promises obviously don't immediately happen to every person who hears them. Do we have to get a certain level of devotion? Well, I think some of them, such as we heard today, you'll become free from sinful reactions. So that can happen immediately. But how will you appreciate that? Because you don't know what reactions are coming your way, right? None of us know. That is the big fun of being in the material world. Every day you wake up, you don't know what's going to happen to you. So some reactions are coming, and we say, or Bhagavatam is telling, you hear this, the reactions won't come. So how you appreciate, you have to, unless you just trust that narration. So some things can happen immediately, but you won't be able to appreciate it. And actually, as I was saying in class, the root of all sinful reactions is being turned away from God. So in the precise moment that one turns toward God in the form of hearing his glories, chanting them, remembering them, etc., at that point, you're getting a lot of purification, more profound than we can appreciate. So that one is okay. I think when you think of the one like your sankalpa will be achieved. So we know we have all sorts of nonsense sankalpas inside that we can't shake off. Like the flies, we try to shake off the flies, they keep coming back. Shake it out, and they just keep coming. So we have so many fly-like sankalpas that we can't shake off. So then you hear this thing like, well, how fast will my sankalpa be fulfilled if I hear this narration? That's what we're thinking. Yeah, I don't know what the fine print is. You could say your sankalpa will be fulfilled, but after next life. You don't know. So maybe there's some fine print there. A lot of times in spiritual literatures like the Bhagavatam, because you can think of this also in a more pious varnashram culture. Then these sort of you could say material fruits, if they give them, it's just to encourage materialistic people to engage with the Bhagavatam. And it's a trick, actually. The trick is by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. One of my roommates. The trick is by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, you'll lose interest in material affairs. So it's a little bit of a trick. The pious person will think, oh, it can get my material desire fulfilled. So they engage. And by engaging, they get purified. So a little bit of a trick there. That's why you have this verse in Bhagavatam 2.3.10, akama sarva kama va moksha kama udharidi. That if you are an intelligent person, whether you have no desires or you have all the desires, or you have desire for moksha, you should still do bhakti yoga only. Tivena bhakti yogena. The idea is that by doing bhakti, you'll get purified of other things. So then only the real fruit will come to you. So sometimes like a trick also. Some trick is being given, some advertisement, right? Just like somehow when the Bhagavatam cheats us, we get upset, even though it's cheating for our benefit. But when we get cheated by everyone else, we congratulate them. Like all these Instagrammers and YouTubers and influencers, they cheat like anything. So much cheating they do. And then we're paying them the money to cheat us. We happily pay the money. They will charge $1,200 for their course. What is their course? They literally went to the Google, grab one thing from there, put it together in one package, and then teach it as their course and charge you $1,200, and we give it happily. And afterwards, we would give one nice review. Oh, so nice. I felt so inspired, blah, 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 blah. So Bhagavatam also done a little cheating. No problem, right? We heard about Vaman Avatar. He came as dwarf. He asked 3 steps of land. A little cheating. That was a little bit cheating. Why you only asked for 3 steps? You know he was going to take the whole universe. So what is the problem also? Let them cheat. So I don't know. That's how I'm taking it. Generally, these statements come up to attract materialistic people, and then they get purified and they get the real thing. Many verses actually state this thing in the Bhagavatam, but I'm out of time. So this general idea you may accept. Yes. Okay. So I don't know if anyone else would like to ask anything. You're free to ask or say anything.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear
you. I know you explained this already, but I must have missed it. What is the phenomenal reality? If we stop there, then we won't complete our perfection, actually. Can you redefine?
Yeah, it just means people are interested in the material world, right? Like scientists. They're big inquirers, right? They ask a lot of questions. But their questions are always about matter. It doesn't go deeper than matter. So
matter is phenomenal. That's phenomenal.
Right. Phenomena means material stuff, right? That is the meaning of the word phenomena. It refers to material things. So they say phenomenal existence. So so the scientists are a good example. They ask questions about phenomenal things. They cannot go beyond phenomenal things because that's all they're inquisitive about. Right? That's why we say evolution of inquiry precedes evolution of being. How come they
Yeah,
can't
I
go
guess
deep?
I'm just surprised that that word is used in connection with the mundane. Yeah, and you
Yeah, it
don't
is.
normally think of the mundane as phenomenal.
Yeah, that's exactly what we mean. You see someone do some backflip, and we say phenomenal. Yeah, it's material. That's exactly what it is. It's a material thing, and it's phenomenal. It is. It's of nature. It's of phenomena. So you go and look it up in dictionary, but this is how the word is used, generally speaking. Jai Shri Shri
Thank you.
Radha Madhukar ki Jai, Shri Shri Gaur Chandra ki Jai. Okay, and I guess I'm also through. Go Premanandi, Haribo, thanks for tolerating me. Thank you for coming. Linda, you
Yes, Jaya Jagannath Prabhu ki Jai. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hari, Hari, later.